2016 Human Resource Case Presentation. Thanks to our judges, Heather Ryan from Frederick Cooperative Limited, Cheryl Carver, the Associate VP of Human Resources at the University of Saskatchewan, Reese Brier from the Frederick Cooperative Limited, Paula Senritha Tenkun from Mount Royal University, Marian Deutscher from K+S Potash Canada, Kavita Britton from Potash Corp. Competitors, you will have 20 minutes to present. Following that, judges will have 5 minutes to ask questions. The volunteer timekeeper at the back will show time cards at various intervals to indicate the time remaining, and will stop any speaker who exceeds the maximum time. No questions, comments, pictures, cell phones from the audience at any time, and you're only allowed to applaud following the Q&A, and please exit afterwards. The audience is also banned from any material that bears the same name or symbol of a competing university. Begin when you're ready.
Pareto Engineering is an organization that is currently at a crossroads. The steps you take now will determine the future success of your organization. Thank you for joining us today, executives of Pareto. My name is Alexandra, this is Richard and Megan, and we are ARM Consulting. We believe that our recommendation will assist your organization in achieving excellence by uniting your workforce. We will now start with an agenda for the day.
Thank you, Alex. So, to begin with, we will discuss a few of the factors currently facing your organization, and after that, we will identify the key issues that you are currently facing. After that, we will provide our decision criteria, as well as provide some alternative solutions that we have developed. After that, we will go into what our recommendation is, as well as an implementation plan for that recommendation. Finally, we will discuss a few of how we would implement that recommendation, as well as a few contingencies that we have identified. Afterwards, we will have a brief summary, and at the end, as was mentioned, we will have time for questions. So, to jump right on in, your organization has actually brought in 500 new Halcyon employees, and they come from a different organization with a different culture and a different job design to how they actually completed their work. And with these new employees, there is a potential for a large gain. Actually, 105 million additional revenue per year from the new customers that they bring with them. But if any of these employees are to leave, this could lead to some reduction in customers and thus a loss in revenue for your organization. And currently, you are undertaking some techniques to bring on these employees and get them accustomed to your organization and to how you do things going forward. So, next we will identify some of the key issues facing your organization.
Richard? All right, so after taking a look at the current situation your organization is in, we've determined that your primary issue is culture, with your secondary issue being compensation and benefits. And so for culture, to start right off, currently your original employees of Pareto have a view of the new employees that isn't entirely positive. They believe that these new employees are receiving favorable treatment because of the extra lengths you're going to in order to onboard them and bring them into the culture, as well as believing that these new employees, it's their job to incorporate themselves into the culture rather than believing it as a kind of team activity that both individuals will work together to do. In addition, because you're bringing in individuals from a completely different corporate culture, there's going to be some differences in the cultures between the two organizations. Individuals from the Halcyon organization work more autonomous in smaller teams, where in Pareto they have larger teams. This can create some possible issues. In addition, there's currently been a lack of communication with the Halcyon employees. They don't completely understand how, there hasn't been a lot of communication to do with how to their work is associated with the corporate goals of your organization. And there's been a little lack of communication on how important it is to acquisition these individuals into your organization and how positive it can be. For your secondary issue, which is compensation and benefits, there is a discrepancy in the pay between the top level individuals. And this is going to lead to some problems because in a workplace, people are going to talk and they can become upset if they hear that individuals doing the same amount of work are maybe being paid more, and we don't want this to happen. This figure shows, we've shown the different differences between the pay, and so for the top partners, there's a difference between 500,000 to 55,000, 50 to 55,000, sorry. For the second level, there's, I believe, around 15,000. And then the lower bottom level consultants are receiving the same amount of pay, but they have a difference in utilization rate of about 10%. Now, in order to address these issues and solve the problems that your organization is facing, we've determined some possible alternative solutions. In order to judge which solutions are the best, we have based our decision criteria on prosperity, technology, and connections. For prosperity, we want our solution to be prosperous to your organization. We don't want it to be extremely costly. For connections, we want all of your individuals to work together and become a united team. And for technology, we want to have innovative solutions where you can use your technology and resources to the best of your ability, so in order to help your organization. We will now take a look at these possible solutions.
Thank you, Alex. So we've come up with 3 solutions in order to solve the issues currently facing your organization. For the first solution, we suggest that Pareto employees receive a pay raise to have parity between the 2 organizations. We want to make sure that all of the top-level employees are receiving the same amount of pay for the equal position that they're holding. We want to increase non-monetary benefits for both of the organizations coming together. So we want to make sure that Halcyon doesn't feel like they're being left out and that they are receiving a little bit more as well. So we would suggest non-monetary benefits for this. We also would suggest for the first solution a communication plan that really shows the employees exactly what you are going to do and why. Last, for solution number 1, we suggest a company retreat in order to bring everyone together. For solution number 2, we suggest a one-time retention bonus for Pareto employees. Then we would suggest implementing a wage freeze for your Halcyon employees until you're at parity with both organizations for however long it takes to get everyone at that equal pay level. Lastly, we would suggest sending out a memo regarding the importance of the acquisition and everyone coming together as a team. For our third solution, we would suggest a large pay increase for Pareto employees and a small pay increase for your Halcyon employees. Now, we suggest this because it's going to be a large increase just to get them even to parity. But again, we don't want to leave Halcyon behind, so we would suggest getting to parity and then a little bit more even above that so that everyone feels like they're being included and it's one team coming together. We also suggest that you do web seminars in order to establish this new Pareto culture and get everyone on board and feeling like they understand what's happening and why. So now we'll take a look at our decision criteria. So what we've done is we've taken each of the solutions and we've rated them on a 1 to 3. 1 being the least effective and 3 being your most effective for each of your pillars. As you can see, based on this, we have decided that solution number 1 is the best solution. So for our recommendation, we would suggest the pay equality. So bringing up your Pareto employees to be at an equal pay level to all your Halcyon employees. We would also suggest the non-monetary benefits. So what we mean by non-monetary benefits is other alternatives, whether it's telecommuting, working from home, allowing people to achieve a work-life balance that feels more comfortable to them. We want to reach in and really look at those intrinsic benefits and see what is going to motivate people to really get on board with the culture and embrace the new organization's direction. For the communication plan, we want to create an open door policy. We want everyone to feel comfortable being able to express their opinions and being able to express any issues that they have with what's happening in the organization. We want to make sure that they feel comfortable going forward, asking questions and giving feedback. We also suggest creating an employee portal. So we're going to utilize the existing microsite that you have that has your frequently asked questions, that has your benefits, different healthcare stuff, and everything everything else you have for your organization on that microsite. So we would create a link on the web portal to that so that we utilize the existing microsite. In addition, we would add on that portal some engaging videos that really get people excited about the culture. We want to get them feeling like they understand what's happening and get them involved and embracing the new direction. Next, we would suggest a feedback option. Not everybody is going to be comfortable coming forward even with an open door policy. They don't want to feel like they are being judged based on any feedback they're giving, so we want to give them the option of anonymity so that they can still make those suggestions and feel like they're being heard without fear of repercussions. And then we also want to add a monthly video from your president or CEO. So we want to make sure that this culture is really coming top down. Everybody is going to embrace it from your highest level to your bottom level. By having monthly communications from your president and CEO, he or she can make sure that they're communicating any progress that is being made, the really good points about what is happening within your organization. And then lastly, we want to do your company retreat. So this is a one-time company retreat to bring everyone together in one place and really unite everyone under one organization. So we want to bring together both teams and get everybody working as one. So we would suggest doing some information sessions, whether it's motivational speakers or various workshops, anything to really get everyone on board and feeling comfortable with the new direction of your organization. And then also some team building exercise to integrate both groups together. Now we do understand that there are costs associated with all of these recommendations that we have. So now we'll take a look at your cost benefit analysis. So for your lead partner position, currently there's a $50,000 to $55,000 difference in pay. So you have approximately 250 people in that position. So if we look at the top end of the band at $55,000, you're looking at an increase of $13.75 million per year. Now this sounds like a big number, but when you look at the revenues from last year of $350 million, this is only 3.93% of that revenue, a very small amount for a large benefit. For your business partners, it's a $15,000 difference. So we're approximating there's about 1,000 people sitting in this position currently. So at that rate, you're looking at $15 million. Again, this is only 4.3% of the revenue over last year. For your non-monetary benefits, telecommuting will be at no additional cost to your organization. All of your employees have computers, they have internet access, they already have the tools and resources to be able to work from home or from outside the office. For your job design, we wanted to make a $25,000 budget to have your existing HR team analyze and evaluate the current position and see how we can make those changes for the people that feel that they want other options and a little bit more control over what they're doing in the organization. Then for our communication plan, we're budgeting $25,000 to have a web designer come in and create this portal. Then lastly, for your company retreat, we're suggesting a $4.2 million budget. Now this does look like a lot, but we're budgeting about $1,500 per employee in order to really embrace the organization. This is a one-time expenditure, and again, it's only a small amount, 1.2% over your revenue from last year. Now, this is a lot of numbers we're throwing at you and a lot of dollars, but when you look at the potential increase, so your total expenditure is $33 million, but with the net increase of $72 million, as we have the potential gain of $105 million in revenue every year with the acquisition of this new company. It's a small amount for a large gain. So now we will take a look at the implementation.
Thank you, Megan. So, for our implementation, we have broken it down into 3 phases, as you can see, and that first phase will begin immediately. This is the things that we can implement with very little hassle that can have a large reward very quickly. So the first part is that implementing the pay raises for the Pareto employees to bring them up to parity so that when they start talking with their new Halcyon co-workers, they won't be noticing any differences in their pay, which could lead to increased conflict between the two groups of people. As well, we want to begin development of that web portal, finding a web designer who will have the necessary skills within our budget to create this resource for our employees, as well as beginning that job analysis. So starting to have our HR employees review the job descriptions and current job designs of the employees, as well as speaking with the employees, finding out what it is they actually do during their jobs, and looking at also what rewards they'd be wanting from their jobs and what we could potentially institute past the telecommuting that we could, so that the Halcyon and Pareto employees will find their job more rewarding and want to stay with the organization. The next thing that we'd like to implement is taking our current transition team and having them begin planning that company retreat. So starting to look at the venues, potential venues that we could be looking at, potential speakers, and begin planning the travel and dates necessary to get everyone together in this centralized location. As well, we want to institute that open door policy right away so we can start to getting feedback from our employees past that State of the Union survey that we had already completed. The next phase of our implementation is in that 6-month period, and during that time, we want to implement a few changes. The first change we want to do is launch that web portal with the first message from the President and the CEO, explain to the employees all the changes that we're implementing, how it will benefit them, and how with the new hires and with our current Pareto employees, how we'll be able to achieve excellence. The next part is we want to start filming those first communication videos, developing the necessary introductions, and explaining to employees the new direction of the company, the new values, and how it relates to them specifically. Next, we also want to finish that job analysis within those 6-month period so that we can implement the new job design while also looking at any new avenues that we could implement for our employees to make their lives a little bit easier and a little bit more rewarding. Finally, we do want to hold at the end of that 6-month period the company retreat so that we can get all of the employees together, communicate to them the new plan and direction of the company, and start that team building exercises to bring everyone together and make sure that there is as little conflict as possible. Our final phase is an ongoing phase where we will look at continuing those monthly messages from the President and CEO to explain any new changes, any new developments in the organization, and where we're going in the future. We also want to update those videos as needed, so they won't need to be necessarily changed every year, but as the information changes, we want to keep those up to date. And as well, we want to have a second State of the Union survey where we ask the employees what they think of their jobs and the direction that we are taking, and we do want to hold that 1 year after to actually let the changes that we have instituted have a little bit of time to sink in and let the employees get used to their new positions. And finally, we do want to evaluate and review the feedback that we are receiving through the open door policies and that feedback option that we have placed in the web portal. Now, with any plan, there are some risks that could arise, and we have identified some contingencies for those. So the first risk that we've identified is a lack of cash flow. If we simply don't have the necessary funds to hold the company retreat or give everyone a pay raise right off the bat. If that is the case, we would like to delay the company retreat past year. We still think it's important, but it isn't necessary to hold right away in that 6-month period. As well, we would like to break that pay raise instead of being immediate, make it incremental over a period of time. Second risk we've identified is a lack of buy-in from employees. If, despite all of our changes, people still aren't interested in embracing the new culture, we would look at potentially offering severance packages to those employees. Now, I would like to emphasize that this is a worst-case scenario. Everything we've done has failed. Unfortunately, we would have to let some people go to ensure that Pareto can be the best organization it can. So, next we will discuss a few of the things that we have mentioned throughout the presentation.
Thank you. All right, so as you've seen today, we looked at a brief context of the issues, or the what is facing your organization currently. We identified the key issues that are facing your organization, with your first being the culture and the second being your compensation and benefits package. After that, we did a decision criteria based on our 3 pillars of prosperity, connections, and technology. Then we went on to create a decision matrix to make the best recommendation possible for your organization. With looking at the decision matrix, we did go with solution number 1. Then we looked at the cost-benefit analysis, followed by your implementation and timeline. We also looked at your possible risks that would face your organization and any contingencies that we could think of to mitigate those risks. Those being the lack of cash flow and the lack of employee buy-in. So we feel that the recommendation that we have brought forward is the best recommendation possible in order for your organization to achieve excellence. Now we will take your questions.
I tend to be the money person. Okay, we're gonna bring all of our employees. So 2,300 and another 500. And we're gonna bring them all together on a retreat at only $1,500 per employee. I operate in 5 countries. I'm gonna put them up in a hotel, I'm gonna fly them here, and I'm gonna pay for the retreat with $1,500.
I want to know where it is. Is it the retreat?
Well, we're looking at utilizing somewhere local where your home base is. So we want to try and bring everybody together. I know they do work in 5 different countries, but if we can find a central location that is on the lower end of your cost. Now, obviously, that is a low estimate, but we did want to take into consideration that the organization is still coming together. So there might not be the necessary cash flow to spend that higher amount of money that would be necessary to do a bigger retreat at a nicer place.
And I'm losing those billable hours. So I've got 2,300 employees. I mean, as long as it's good value and, what we're gonna put together is, going to move us ahead. Because really our thing is we've got these 500 new employees that we want to bring in, be a part of the team, really feel welcome, and start contributing and be a part of it. So.
As well, if you do look at our recommendation and increase those numbers by even 10 million, that still leaves quite a large increased revenue for your organization, since there is the 105 million additional revenue coming in from these employees.
I just want to address that. I have some real concerns, and we're talking in the first 6 months of spending 33 million at a minimum. That 105 revenue, we're expected to lose about 5% of that, and that's revenue, that's not profit. So we're talking about utilizing at the minimum 33 million plus some of these other pieces, billable hours. There seems to be an add, and I'm starting to wonder if we made a good decision actually in taking on this organization. So I just really want to stress that I have a huge concern with when we're talking about cutting into our revenue when it's not profit, so it's not that net piece. So I'm actually wanting to go back and look at 33. Do we even have those kind of funds at this point? I appreciate your contingency plan, but my heart's pounding in terms of the dollars of cutting into our revenue, and I'm not sure if we have even the profit margin at this point.
Not sure about the structure. We've got different structures between Malsion and Pareto. I didn't hear you addressing that, how our teams would be structured. I heard you say job analysis. I'm thinking that maybe sometime down the road we'll address that. But how do we deal with that now?
We believe that the current structure of your organization is already working well, and so we thought that with this large amount of new employees, it would be easiest to bring them into the current structure and then to integrate them that way right away, and then look at some job analysis to see if there's maybe some other ways that would be better to more suit the new employees.
Okay, so which current structure? When you say integrate them into the current structure, I'm just certain.
By the current structure, we mean where there is the one lead partner with the one business development manager with the 2 managing consultants and then the 7 lower level consultants.
Some of the basis is based on the survey, which was only the group coming in, not the other groups. So how do we really know some of the problems that you've said are really there, or is it just 4 or 5 squeaky wheels that are making some comments?
Well, I think that's why we would look at making some initial changes and then doing some more research and feedback towards the end of, in the ongoing period, and that feedback would be from all employees. So the initiation of your web portal to give the ability for feedback would allow your current employees to have their opinions heard.
As well, based on the responses from the employees on the social media website that you currently have developed for the Pareto employees, we believe that these issues are wide-ranging and are felt by quite a few of the employees.
Before making the decision to increase fees of other employees, did you do a labor market review to see if we were even in the right ballpark because we were working in different industries?
Unfortunately, we didn't have that information at the time to go off of, so that would be something we could look at doing later on. The biggest concern was looking at getting some parity between the employees as they're going to talk about it, and then you have unhappy existing employees who are just going to leave.